Hey, good morning, guys. It's Sunday, April 5th, I believe. This is the end of 4 weeks of the journey, and it's been a heck of a 4 weeks. And I may run long today. This is my second chance at this year because the first one, I guess I had too much memory chewed up in my phone. I had to delete a lot of stuff, so I apologize. But a lot to talk about today. Certainly recapping yesterday, and I think I'd like to. Um, I got to get some plans set up for the coming. Usually, I try to get 2 weeks out in advance, but I'm going to share that with you if I can here as I go. But it's hard to tell you about coming week or two because of the way I kind of feel about today. So when I left on the journey, um, my goal was to walk 6 days and rest on the seventh and give myself a chance to take it easy. And then I realized that that original plan was when I was in PA and had a chance for folks to come close enough to visit me. So the first week and 2 weeks, I did have some familiar faces out. But Sundays are a day without family here. It's kind of hard to just ask someone to kind of lay around their house or their neighborhood all day. And besides, if I could walk even a small amount, it's that much closer to getting home. Which brings me to today. I've had a couple of Sundays have been kind of my rougher days, though. Actually, last Sunday was an amazing day. That's where I met Margie and Tom, and people dropped off gift care packages for me, and I guess yeah. Then I met Scott Redding and his family, and it was just a great day how it all broke out. So the Sunday before was a really one of my toughest days on the road so far. But um, yesterday, even though I didn't do a full 20, when I left Bourbon, if you guys saw my live stream when I was leaving, the wall of heat just hit me. It was heavy air, and I was drenched within the first 2 blocks. And today it's supposed to be a little bit hotter. And for a lot of reasons, I'm thinking about sticking around Plymouth today. I'm not. I think I have an idea of where I've got to reach out and touch base with somebody. Um, so yesterday, when I finally made it to town, um, the gentleman said, "Hey, look, you deserve a break. I'm gonna show my humanity by putting you up at a hotel to get you set up and situated." Which you know, a little less personal in the sense that I enjoy the dynamic of meeting folks and getting to know them in depth. But Brian was very cool, and we hung out at night, and I'll share a lot of that. But it was really, in a way, is appreciated because you come in, get a real hot shower, you get some amenities that you have some privacy. It's just your own. You're not in somebody else's, home or room. So that little bit of quiet is kind of a nice thing. I can use the computer. One of the challenges I got today is between yesterday uh, and the heavy sweating the day before. I got a bunch of wash I have to do. This particular hotel doesn't have a laundry, so that's on my agenda today. In addition, Sundays I like to try to find a way just to go, pay my respects to God and what He's had to do with this. I try to get to church um, in there, and I've been successful every Sunday. Brian reached out to me because what I realized, for whatever reason, and maybe it's tired and a little bit exhausted, but spent the night with Brian. We talked a lot, and I never took a picture with him. Um, um, so I texted him last night and said, "Hey, I never got a picture with you." And he said, "Well, let me know when you weigh out tomorrow. We'll see what happens." And he's not one that wants a lot of attention or accolades. He just figures taking care of a decent guy doing a good, decent thing. But he said, "Hey, my wife and I head in the church around 10, and you're welcome to join us." I said, I might take you up on that. And the reason I say that is I was fortunate yesterday as I came to Plymouth. Uh, the day before, I believe it was the day before, I met a gentleman named Dustin on the road, and he lives here in Plymouth, and he was very kind to me, very positive, uplifting young man. And when I guess when I got to town yesterday, late in the day, he had kind of emailed me and said, "Hey, if you need a place to stay, you're more than welcome to stay with me." And at that point, I said, "Thank you. I really do appreciate the offer." But I was already in the hotel, But I like meeting people. I think again, I'm trying to tell a story to my children, to myself, to now you guys who are following me. And I'm going to run long today, guys. I apologize. I just think there's some things I want to talk about, and sometimes I start getting carried away when I do. Um, but I said, well, Dustin, maybe we can, meet for breakfast. I have to go do some wash. I heard there's a laundromat like a mile from here. I like actually calculated it's a mile and a half, and maybe we can have some breakfast tomorrow before I head out. And he said, well, that'd be really neat. Um, he said, but at the same time, we can pick up some groceries. I don't have much for in the house, but you can do your wash here and we can pick up some groceries. And I said, well, that might be a great plan too. But we left it like that, didn't make any solid plans. But with the fact that the heat's going to be kind of crazy, frankly, the fact that I'm a little bit beat up physically and mentally, the fact that I like Plymouth, I do. I didn't get a lot of time here. And as far as I can tell, I'm in this little gap that I may face further out west I haven't faced here. I try to go 20 miles a day, but the way it works here is one town called Hamlet, which I don't think is a very large town, um, 14 miles from here, and another town 24 miles from here, Hannah. So that 20 would fall in between. And frankly, I don't think anybody would be upset with me too much if I decided to take a day for myself, get caught up on some things, paperwork wise, personal life wise. Plymouth is a really neat town, and so I'm thinking about if I hear from Dustin during this thing to say, hey, there's tonight possibly still an opportunity. That would give me time to check out of here, get to church, get my wash done, do some of those things, and give myself a day of just, maybe I won't say for me, but just not that high pressure, emotional drain at 8 to 10 hours on a really hot dripping highway will give me. So I ranted long enough about today. I'm 7 minutes in and I haven't said a damn thing yet of any substance. So yesterday, let's talk about yesterday. Anyway, guys, so I still have plans. I'm going to publish them for next week. I plan on being in Chicago towards the back end of the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. A few folks have reached out with contact names. I've got to call a couple people. I think I shared yesterday how Gary has reached out to the church up there, that one particular church, that something may break in terms of having me just give that kind of what I'm looking to do is just give perspective. So yesterday I started to leave Bourbon, and I didn't get out of Bourbon. As I started to get across town, just a few blocks to the main street, this woman saw me, and I shared it with her yesterday. Mindy said, hey, sir, are you taking a trip? I said, I am. And I told her a little bit about it. She said, have you eaten breakfast yet? And I said, well, I haven't. And so, would you like a pancake and sausage? And I said, look, this is about humanity, so and I'd be rude to say no. So she said, well, there's a pancake breakfast up the road here for the high school football team, the Triton Trojans. So she gave me a ticket, which was very nice, and I walked up there, and it was really neat. Big tables. Most everybody was kind of staying to themselves. But as I went through the counter, I told one gentleman what I was doing, and I just asked him to follow like I always do. And I guess he was kind of excited by the idea and passed the word on my behalf. And slowly but surely, the whole not the whole team, but a lot of the team was coming over to me and taking a picture, and other parents were coming up to me and giving me an opportunity to share, the point the thumb, mantra. And point the thumb works on a sports team as well as it does anywhere else. Sometimes you have a wide receiver that beats his guys by 5 yards, and he wants to come back to the huddle and start telling the quarterback how he's wide open and you got to get me, and maybe not taking into account that the quarterback may have been running for his life, or he might have been focused on the left side of the field and he's on the right, and or somebody on the line blocking, getting up to the line of scrimmage and worrying about what they're doing over there. If you point the thumb, look, let me just take care of what I've got to take care of, execute my portion. Let me just own what I can own. Then the team might execute that play a little bit better. So it applies to so many things in life. But really a great time, great atmosphere. What I have done throughout my trip here is I seem to lose. I use hand towels, usually when I just sweat a lot and wipe the sweat. Chris is giving me one. Chris back in McConnelsville, PA, gave me one of those kind of damp towels, and I had one from Miss Pat back home. I lost the one from Miss Pat early on the journey. I left that, put that down somewhere. Anyway, I needed some towels, and I stopped up at the Dollar General. That put me right by the 30 highway bypass. So I walked down that for 6-8 miles and before crossing back over. Nothing eventful happened there, and so I stopped at one of my breaks to do a video, and I broke my tripod that I use, and kind of put out an APB, hoping there was a Walmart here in town, which there is. But at that moment, a gentleman named Orion had pulled up, and he's a broadcaster. Ironically, he broadcasts the football games for the Triton Trojan high school football team. Go Trojans, by the way. Open their season in 2 weeks. So I'm pulling for you. I've got a few high school teams here in Ohio and Indiana that are becoming my teams I got to follow. So he pulled up and was very grateful for that. And then I made my way. I was really looking for a place to stop. In fact, at one point I misread my map, and I turned down a road in a town called Inwood, and I thought that said there was a McDonald's up at the corner, and I hadn't changed my map from Plymouth to Inwood, so the McDonald's was actually in Plymouth. Anyway, about halfway up the block, it looked kind of like there wasn't anything up ahead. There's a family sitting on that porch, and what has become so common in this journey when I'm in a town is I just asked a simple question: hey, is there a McDonald's up there? No, not here, bud. You got to go up quite a few miles. And I said, hey, do you mind if I just grab a seat in the shade? I'm doing this journey across America talking about people and the people I meet and folks just like yourself, and can I get a chance to maybe just say hello to you? And absolutely. And the one young man went and topped off my waters for me and got me some cold water, and was able to sit down and talk with these folks, and didn't stay very long. Took a picture with them, but it was just very pleasant. Went back up the road, got to Lincoln Highway. Another gentleman was having a yard sale, so let me check it out. You never know, maybe there's some towels there or things like that. Sometimes they sell some cold drinks. I asked this gentleman if he was selling any cold drinks. He said, no, but I can give you one. And he gave me a root beer. And my daughter, Kira, you'll appreciate this if you're still listening. I don't do root beer. I don't know what it is. I just not a big root beer fan. But this was so cold at the time that I chugged it down, and I was thinking if my daughter saw me now, she would be giggling because she knows I'm not a root beer guy. Anyway, further up the road, again, I was trying to stay hydrated, really just steam bath hot out there. And I pulled over to the shade and sitting down. That's when Orion had pulled up and showed his kindness. And I knew I wasn't all that far at that point. I was able to get to the pilot station up on 30. They had a subway. And I parked down at the subway, and there was a veteran there. I thanked him for his service and talked with him a short while. I met 3 gentlemen that played for the Michiana Thunderhawks, the semi-pro football team, on their way to a game. They were very cool, and it was great to talk with them for a little while. I just kind of sat down to decompress, and it was there that I got into well, I'm running out of time here. Let me talk about something else that transpired, which I'll lead into at a later date. So, those of you that have heard me talk about people, I've talked about influences in my life, and one of my biggest influences and my best influences, as well as influencers, and my best friend for my whole life has been my brother. We've been very tight over the years. We've kind of drifted off, but love each other dearly. I know we do. But he's not a social media kind of guy. He's not an open up and pour your heart out there and tell other people your problems or your business kind of guy. And when I told him what I was doing on the journey, the conversation didn't quite go as I'd hoped. And there's 2 sides to every story, as my friend Dr. Phil says. Well, not my friend because he doesn't know me, but as my guy Dr. Phil says, no matter how thin the pancake, there's always 2 sides. But anyway, I speak to my mom every day. She's 83, and I give her a call to let her know I'm okay, just so she's not worried. And she's been very supportive. Well, asked how my brother's doing. She told me that he'd gotten a new job or was taking a new job somewhere, something along those lines, and I hadn't talked to him. So I just sent him a text and said congratulations. And he responded, said, hope you're getting everything you want out of your journey. And I said, it's been going well. Should be a great book. And make sure you take good notes. So there was just a little bit of dialogue, which we hadn't had. So that part was real positive for me, and I'll talk more about him as we go. I'm going to wrap up this first one and keep going here, guys. So hang tight with me, all right?